Alright, so in my intro video for Corvettes and support ships, I got some feedback on that, and well, it looks like there's some room for improvement. So we're going to split that one in two, and I'm going to redo it. So today, y'all are getting Corvettes. So let's begin by defining what is a Corvette. Well, from my base in Star Wars, we have the Anaxis 4 College method, which is basically ship length. And I don't find that to be a sufficient explanation to be usable for writers in various genres. It's obviously only really useful for Star Wars. So, what do I define a Corvette as? Well, a Corvette is going to be the smallest warship you have. So, here on Earth, that would mean a blue water ship. So, this is going to be a ship capable of actually going out to sea. Anything that can't go to sea, it has to stay by the coastline, go in the river, that's considered a green water ship. That's a lot of your speedboats and whatnot. But a blue water ship can go out to sea, and the smallest ones of those are going to be your Corvettes. So you would apply that in the same way to whatever your setting is. So if it's a space-based setting, then the smallest ship type that can go on an actual journey into space and not just hop planet to planet. So now that we've defined what a Corvette is, what do they do? Well, again, this is going to be a it depends situation, and it depends on whether your ship is being used as a warship. See, because a Corvette is the smallest size of ship you've got, it isn't suitable for combat in any level of variety. So if you're going to go into combat, you need to be specialized. You need to be either an anti-fighter Corvette, an anti-ship Corvette, maybe an anti-sub Corvette. Is your job scouting? It doesn't matter, but you're going to have one primary job and maybe a secondary job. However, if this isn't a warship, if you're using it as a hero ship in some exploration situation, then you have a lot more leeway with this, and you can fit it to kind of the needs of the story. But do understand that that means it's going to be okay at doing a lot of things as opposed to being good at doing any one thing. It's very important to ensure that you remember you have trade-offs. So a mining ship outfitted for war that can also go on long-range explorations isn't really going to be very good at any one of them. Its mining operations will take longer, its exploration will not be as in-depth, and its fighting capabilities aren't going to be as robust as a normal production line Corvette, as I would call them. So let's explore these two in separate statements. So to begin with, the warship Corvette, we're going to take an example from Star Wars. That's going to be the CR-90. The CR-90, as most of you would probably know it, is called the Rebel Blockade Run. This is the very first Rebel ship. This is Leia's ship from Episode 4, the first one you see, the Tantive 4. The CR-90 is typically outfitted as an anti-starfighter platform. It's extremely fast. It has a lot of bolt-in placements for being able to run down fighters with extra cannons and just usually mounted to just all heck with laser cannons. However, there are variants of this. There is a missile variant. It's kind of called the Corellian gunship. It's technically a different class, but it's basically the same ship, and it's got a bunch of proton torpedo launchers or concussion missile launchers. You have a carrier variant. You have a command ship variant. You've got a scout ship variant. As you can tell, all of these are the same base platform, but their specializations are different. They are good at one thing. The carrier ship, even though it has some laser cannons, should not be trying to hunt down starfighters because it isn't capable of shooting down any significant number of them. It should be generally trying to outrun them. However, Corvettes are fairly cheap, and in terms of manpower to firepower ratio, they're probably your most efficient ship because they only need about 20 crew to actually have full capacity. So if you mount up a Corvette with turbo lasers, and you mount up like 50 Corvettes with turbo lasers, you have significantly lower crew requirements than a proper cruiser while still having the same, if not greater, level of firepower. The major trade-off here is that you end up with a bunch of glass cannons. The Corvettes aren't really able to take a hit. Even the heavily armored Corvettes are very weak compared to your base level cruiser. So in combat, what you end up with is the cruisers will go into fight, they're going to start slugging it out. And once one side believes they can finish it off with a Corvette charge, they're then going to charge their capital ship killer Corvettes, except they're going to take losses because they are glass cannons, but in the process will take a much bigger victory against the enemy heavy cruisers. And that's the real benefit of a Corvette, is while you're guaranteed to take losses, these are typically supposed to be efficient losses. You may lose 20 crew members, but the enemy's going to lose a few hundred, if not a few thousand. Now, moving on to the non-war Corvettes, which typically in writing you're going to see either as pirate vessels or hero ships. These Corvettes are the base level dual craft most of the time I see them. The reason for this is because as these small ships, you get a lot of character interactions. It stops being about what this one ship does in a fight, and it starts being about how the crew interacts. And in order to do that, your crew needs to have variety. So you need a gunner, you need a navigator, you need a pilot, a captain. If you're having a mining vessel, you need a miner. Maybe you need a specialist in espionage. And all of these characters have different character interactions. So having a vessel which only has one capability robs you of all of the situations you can throw this crew into, which will provide you with various character interactions and various room for character development. So in a situation where you're focusing on this one craft, it often ends up being a bit of a jack of all trades. And in this regard, Corvettes are well suited to these type of character stories or character dramas because you can keep track of 20 to 30 people. That's easy to do. Your audience is capable of understanding 20 to 30 people across an entire show. But that same audience cannot keep track of the hundreds or thousands of people needed to run a cruiser, a frigate, or a star destroyer. It doesn't matter how much time you spend with those ships, your audience will never relate to every character. So you end up with the Star Trek problem of red shirts, where you have a red shirt, they die, and threat of the week, but we don't actually care because it's a red shirt, and honestly, nobody cares about the red shirts. But on a Corvette, if you have even a single injury, you have removed significant capability. If your pilot's knocked unconscious, it doesn't matter if someone else can fly the ship. They cannot do it with the same level of skill as your pilot. So you can remove capability easily, and that gives you a good character development situation. And it's something that you just can't get out of a heavy cruiser. There's just too many people on the cruiser. So, in conclusion, there's two ways to use a Corvette. There is the warship method of being specialized in one task, and there is the character development method of being focused on the crew and being more of a jack of all trades. So, I hope I have been easy to understand, and I hope this provides some benefit to you out there looking to build fleets of ships. Or even if you just want to run a Firefly situation. Because yes, Firefly was a Corvette. And I've never actually seen the show, so I don't know if that ship's name is the Firefly or not. Don't get mad at me, please.